Hello, welcome to the Yoga Local podcast. My name is Josie and I'm recording this at our studio here in Wellingborough in the UK. Thank you for joining. Today I wanted to talk about why we might fall short on some of those goals that we set for us, in particular health. And yoga is many things, but it's fundamentally kind of known as a practice of healing, right? So it really sits in that category of practices that may be able to support us in our pursuit of health and fitness and feeling good about ourselves. Trouble is, I think one of the biggest reasons that we kind of struggle with our health goals or anything when it comes to self-care is that we end up trying to do all the things, and we try and end up doing all the things at once with no particular strategy, no particular direction, no particular focus or sense of purpose. And ultimately what happens, then nothing works, right? It's a little bit like chucking all your ingredients into one pot without, being specific about when those ingredients go in and which ingredients work with each other and when is the appropriate time and what's the heating element going to be. All that stuff has to come in at certain places, and so it's no wonder, my analogies, they get me every time. It's no wonder that nothing works, because we've got all the things, but we're just not bringing them together in any kind of order, any kind of system, any way that's going to move us forward to where we want to be. So then we don't get the results, and then we give up, or we go to the next shiny thing, and so it continues. So it's confusing, it's overwhelming. And my experience of the yoga world when I came to it, not that long ago, really, in the scheme of things, was the same. It was an overwhelming mix of this practice, that practice, this class over here, this teaching over here. And there was nothing to bring it all together. There was no cohesion, there was no integration, which is a coincidence because that's our theme this month. And and the importance of being able to integrate, the importance about being able to bring things together to an ultimate conclusion, and the efficiency and the efficacy that happens when we do that. So it feels like we, on one hand, if we do it all, right, if it feels like the more that we do, the better or the quicker the results will be. But like really, this kind of strategy of releasing one, quick fix after another, one strategy after another, just leaves us in confusion, just leaves us in overwhelm. It hits us hard in our purse because we're constantly paying out for the next shiny thing. But ultimately, the big danger is that it just leads to burnout. It just leads to feeling stuck and not moving forward. And what I found that really works is becoming more laser focused, more specific, more targeted, and move with one single process. Like, find your process, find your strategy, and then follow that to its ultimate outcome. And that's what will take you from where you are to where you want to be. As I said, the trouble is in the yoga industry, in the fitness industry, like what you'll tend to experience is just random classes here and there, maybe a hatha class over here, a vinyasa class over there, hot yoga, tantra yoga. It's all a bit of a confusing landscape for, the general public to navigate. And it's taken me a long time to navigate. And I'm super interested in it. And, I will spend a lot of my time figuring it out for myself. But you probably haven't got the time for that, right? And so my goal has been to help you bypass all that overwhelm, all that confusion, and provide a space, provide a business, provide a community, provide a setup that helps you to progress systematically, on purpose, towards your soul-driven goals, dreams, desires, whatever that means, whatever self-excellence means for you, whatever you feel passionate about, bringing your energy towards. Yoga as a practice, as a methodology, as a set of tools and technology, is a system that can take you towards those ultimate goals. And again, it's a case of bringing the right practices at the right time and moving progressively along that path, but also recognizing when we fall off the path and knowing where to step back in. So that's what we do here. We have this system of practice, which we haven't made up, by the way. It's the traditional Hatha Yoga system. Comes in 3 stages: moon, sun, fire, and it walks us through this committed practice with those real promises of progress at the end. Progress is becoming more ourselves at the end of the day. It's becoming less kind of bogged down in all the things that we've acquired throughout our life and all the negative energies, all the conditioned behaviors, all of those things we start to unravel in practice so that we can move into our most optimum state. Lots more that I could unpack there, but just understand it's a system, it's a process, it's something that yogis have practiced for thousands of years, passed on orally, one sage to the next, passed down to students also orally in the main. So that's how come it's survived. It's survived any kind of attempt to eradicate these teachings, because you know we can destroy paperwork, but we can't destroy, well, we haven't managed yet to destroy each other. And so this wisdom has been passed down generously over the years, and it's a system, it's a science, and it's time tested. And if we follow that path, if we get laser focused on that path, then we are going to get to where we want to be. No distractions, right? No distractions, no shiny object thing over here. Let's just try this out. Let's try that out. Let's find our path and stick to it and see where it will take us when we're like truly committed, right? No cul-de-sacs, no rabbit holes. Let's get focused. Let's get serious about the direction we want to take our lives, and not get pushed and pulled by the external noise out there. So the process is step by step. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, moon, sun, fire. But we go even more. We go out on this even more for you guys, because again, my experience is like even stage 1 practice is not for the faint-hearted, right? Stage 1 practice is moon practice. It's about stabilizing our minds and getting still. And like, I honestly would defy anyone to like have the option of going for a run around the block or sitting still for 5 minutes. And I bet you every time you'd want to run around the block rather than sit still. Sitting still with ourselves and being with ourselves is super, super confronting. And if you do it for any length of time, right, you'll start to notice all your stuff coming up. And that's why most of us quit. Because we think that mental noise is getting in the way. Actually, we need that mental noise to come up so that we can move through it. But still, it's not an easy process, and there's strategies and things that we learn to help still and master the mind, stage 1. But some of us aren't even ready for that, right? Like, coming into a studio environment can be really nerve-wracking for a lot of people. There's a lot of anxiety about like coming to a studio space and feeling like you don't belong or fit in, and a lot of nerves involved. Couple that with, it's like any new space that you walk into. You don't know the language yet. You don't know the protocol. You don't know the etiquette. And even though like the yoga environment is kind of like the most welcoming place in the world, we're still going to like feel a little bit uncomfortable, and that might be that barrier that gets in your way of just starting. So we have the first step on your path is a resource that we have. It's a free resource, and it's called No More Nerves Pre-Class Starter Kit. And it's available online. You can access it in your own time and at your own pace. And it's a way of you getting to know us, to know me, to like iron out some of those nerves and some of the jargon. Maybe you're not very familiar with anatomy terms and things like that. It's just going to start to answer some of the questions, the frequently asked questions that we get all the time. but also there's some little introductory practices in there for you. So I encourage you, if that sounds like you and you're in that stage of your pathway, kind of like, oh, I'd like to try and check out this thing called yoga, but I'm really nervous. Check out that, and the link will be provided in the blog below. Maybe that's not your story, and your story is more, okay, well, I'm not nervous about coming in, but I am a beginner, and I will find that there's some things that will bring you'll have that kind of understanding that there might be a few bumps in the road, right? We're not coming from we're coming from a state of zero, right? So there's going to be some things that will not quite grasp to start with, okay? And that it gives us this opportunity to kind of like really slow things down. Like studio classes can and will form a certain energetic flow. It's called vinyasa krama. It's a specific sequencing to help us to align with a certain state and energy. So in a regular class, the practices are all being instructed and moved towards that end goal. So there's very little opportunity to slow things down and to get into the weeds a little bit in terms of breathing and alignment and like explaining jargon and all that kind of thing. And so in order to make that journey from non-starter to stage 1 practice, there's the beginner course, and it's a 4-week course which is supported with an online video aspect, so you can start to get this in-person experience, start to explore what it means to practice, how to practice, how and why breath is so important, and all the things that kind of we need a little bit more focused attention on get really explained in depth in the beginner's course, so that when you arrive in your first stage 1 moon practice, stabilizing the mind, you have less bumps in the road. Your journey into that next phase is going to be much more seamless, and therefore you're a lot less likely to kind of to get any resistance, right? Because we put a lot of walls up, especially with something new. We put a lot of walls in the way, and we've got to gently allow those walls to come down, or at least things to soften a little bit as we move along the path. Our body will resist, our minds will resist, and part of our work is going to be to kind of like ease that process and take you through it seamlessly. So that's the beginner's course, 4 weeks, working on breath, alignment and energy mastery and complete practice. We'll explain all of that, and that sets you up for your moon stage 1 hatha yoga progression. But even that isn't the whole story, right? So again, we've got our first timers who are nervous and need a little bit of support, and we've got our beginners who have kind of got over their nerves and they want to come into the studio. We'll teach you how to get ready for your first stage 1 hatha yoga class. Now, as we progress through moon, sun and fire, there are complementary practices which help us to bring some more detail into some of the areas of our practice that may need a little bit of support. So we call these preparation practices. So they come before stage 1, so stage 0 practices, and we call them strength and restore. So they're not complete practices in the sense of they're not following the hatha yoga progression, that they're outside of the hatha yoga progression. However, Like most of us come to practice and our bodies need strengthening, you know, to hold a pose for any length of time and breathe and not be constantly fidgeting in that pose because your body is weak or needs more support. That can be a real barrier to moving forward. So we specifically create a class where you can start to work on your strength in your posture work. We also have a restore class because equally, you know, when we move into our mind practice, moon practice, we'll start to notice like our stress system is off the charts, right? We really struggle to get that mind stable. We're constantly in our thoughts. It's kind of like just whirring away. The fluctuations are just, there's no pause points between your thinking and your emotions and your feelings. It's all kind of like jumbled up, and there's no room for you find it hard to find that space in between your thoughts. So that might mean you need to really slow things down to get the central nervous system back in a state of alignment, and that's where we have our restore stage 0 practice. So again, it's about creating the right environment for practice to be successful. If our bodies need a little bit more support physically, strength. If our minds and our central nervous systems need a little bit more support, we restore. And then stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So stage 1, as I've mentioned, it's all about stabilizing the mind and bringing ourselves to a place of groundedness, stability. It's strength from a viewpoint of being stable, right? The stability, the conviction in being in your true sense of self, i.e. not in that kind of crazy, fragmented, distracted mind space that can't find a space between a thought or a feeling or an emotion. You know, our true sense of self is free of all that noise. And the strength and the focus and the clarity that we get from having a stable mind is what we're looking for. So that's stage 1 practice. In stage 2, we can then move into mastering our energy, because we can only direct our energy and therefore our lives if we have a very clear, focused mind. And we're really clear on where we want that energy to go. We do not want our energies to be starting to fuel that distracted, distorted, fragmented mind, because, you know, that's crazy enough. We don't want to add any more fuel to that fire, right? So stable mind helps us to then skillfully start to build our energy and then start to direct it. Where are we going to direct our energy? Where is our focus going to be positioned? What is it in life that we want to accelerate and grow and build energetically? And these are the questions that we kind of work through as we practice, you know. So I'm just chuckling here because I'm thinking like you guys are just kind of thinking, I thought I was going to be just doing a warrior pose and getting fierce in a posture. It's so much more. It's like the warrior posture is there to help us to find those kind of qualities of a fierce warrior, and not a fierce warrior that's going to go and you know, go berserk and chop off heads randomly, but a warrior that is fierce and knows its path and is going to artfully and skillfully move towards that path with a conviction of who they are and what is true to them. So being a force for good in the world rather than being a force of destruction. So we need the mind stable. We need to be able to master our energy, and that's the pathway, right? We're working towards that capacity to bring forward these qualities which are innate within us but have become disturbed and distorted over time. We've lost, we've forgot. And then stage 3 practice, when you've mastered your mind, you've mastered your energy, that's when you're on fire, and this is fire practice. And it's literally it's not about like, again, it's not like about being this overly stimulated. You know, when you see I don't know, sometimes you can go in environments where it's like a false kind of sense of rah rah. It's not that. It's like that conviction of stability born out of a stable mind, being able to master your energy, and then having that fire in the belly that's going to move you forward into higher states of awareness, into your true potential, to be aligned fully with who you are, and then plotting that path and firing up and fueling that path. I mean, I could go more into the detail, but I don't want to overwhelm you. But and there's a lot of symbolism in yoga, and I think that's why some people shy away from it, because it sounds a bit weird. The deeper you go, the weirder it does get. But if you follow the pathway, it starts to stack up and make sense, right? It's a little bit like learning a language. You can't just, jump into a full-blown conversation. You have to kind of start, with the basics, and then practice, and then have conversations and start to build. And it moves on, and then things start to make more sense, and it becomes part of an embodied experience rather than a learned experience, something that you're not doing mechanically anymore. It's just becoming who you are, and how you speak, right? Because we don't think about, what we're going to say next necessarily. Sometimes we should, maybe. But it just becomes part of how we are and what we do. And practice is moving you towards that capacity, to like fully embody who you are and just be who you are. No effort, right? Effortless ease. So that's the pathway. We can accelerate that pathway. We have workshops, we have fully immersive retreats, and they're available to anyone wherever you are on that path. So it's all about your commitment to yourself and plotting that path, and taking the next necessary step at the right time, guided by people and a community that are looking for the same things out of life and want to be the best that they can be, and they want to be all that they can be. We've got one life. Like, why would we not strive to be all that we can be? Why would we want to be contained and restricted and limited and never feel quite like we're fully engaged in why we're here and what we're meant to do? And I can't emphasize enough that this is not about like just becoming a yogi. I mean, that kind of comes as a result of practicing, but I'm talking to you if you're a stay-at-home parent, right, and you want to up-level yourself, your own level of health, your own level of stability, in order to be the best parent that you can be. Same if you're like a professional, a business professional, a career professional, no matter what your field, you'll be looking to be making a big impression in your field of expertise. And like, you can't come to that from like a limited sense of self, or from a place where you're stressed and you're in your optimum health, right? So these tools and techniques are there for you. And retirees, right? You already worked your butt off all your life for the dream life that you have hopefully managed to achieve, and many of us don't even get to that point, right? But once you're a retiree, you want to live that life to the max, and you want to be as healthy as you can. You want to enjoy your life as much as you can. You want to be, you want to be that kind of the culmination of all your life experiences, and show up for them with your whole heart and soul. And so that's where the practice will take you. So forget labels and what you might think it means to practice yoga or be a yogi. This is just a system for humanity, right? It's a system for all of us who are driven to excel in whatever it is that we want to excel in whatever season of life that we're in whatever job or field we are in. If this speaks to you, then it's the system that will get you to from where you are currently to where you want to be. Okay? No more overwhelm, no more confusion. A path that I have trained in, that my daughter Alison has trained in, that is not made up by us. It is the path that has been passed down through the Sri Vidya lineage, time tested. It's got the seal of approval by the ancient sages, and it's available to you. You just have to show up, find where you are on that path, and follow it, and show up and be consistent. And if that wasn't enough, we also support you via our online membership app. The Yoga Local app stores content, classes, on-demand classes, meditations, breath work. It's also got an amazing community growing in there of like-minded individuals from all walks of life, from all ages, in all seasons, who all want the same thing. They just want to fully live life and be all that they can be. And they understand that it's not about throwing themselves into random classes that don't add up to anything. It's about following that specific pathway. And sometimes we might need to, it's not so linear. Sometimes we need to step back, stabilize the mind a little bit more. Sometimes we need to power up, activate our energy a bit more. It's about understanding where you are on that pathway and then navigating it and being consistent and showing up for yourself. You do not need to have, all these different things going on. They're just distractions. One pathway, and your pathway to success is yoga. So that sounds like something that you are ready to embrace and you want results, and you recognize yourself in there somewhere. We'd be honored to help you get on the path. Come and talk to me, drop me a line, comments in the boxes below, or there's so many ways you can contact me. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere, email. Just get in touch with me. I will have a chat with you and we can get you started. And we hope to see you in a class soon. So I hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.